A vocational rehabilitation guide, work helping disabled people get a job. Chapter 1. Vocational rehabilitation is the idea of training a disabled person to do a paying job. Vocational rehabilitation info. Vocational rehabilitation is a term used for anyone who has been out of the workforce due to an illness, injury, or disability who wants to work. State vocational rehabilitation agencies coordinate and provide counseling, evaluation, and job placement services for people with disabilities. The federal government, state governments, county governments, and municipal governments all try to set up some kind of assistance for physically and mentally disabled people trying to get a job. Look in your local phone book in the government pages. Try your local 211 phone number. Beyond this state government office, some states have special client assistance offices for handicapped people who need general assistance or who have a beef against anyone. There are also services for the sight and hearing impaired. A vocational counselor assists in exploring vocational goals. Public Law 98-524, Carl D. Perkins Vocational Education Act. The Vocational Educational Act, 94,482, was passed in 1963, but a new law governing federally funded vocational education programs was enacted on October 19, 1984. The key provisions of this act are: 1. Ensures that students gain both broader academic skills and experience in all aspects of an entire industry or enterprise, i.e., the skills needed to participate actively in running a business, not just to fit into one narrow production slot. 2. States must assess the quality of vocational education programs, the current and projected occupational needs and the current and projected demand for general occupational skills, the needs of students, including adults, to determine how to best improve students' skill level in light of the state's occupational and skill requirements, the special needs of handicapped students, disadvantaged, adults needing training or retraining, single parents or homemakers, individuals who participate in programs designed to eliminate sex bias and stereotype, and criminal offenders who are serving in correctional institutions. The special needs must be assessed in terms of access to vocational education and vocational services in terms of labor market needs. The relationship between programs offered and the jobs available and to new and emerging technologies. 3. The State Board shall, with respect to vocational education services and activities for handicapped individuals and disadvantaged individuals, provide assurances that equal access will be provided to handicapped and disadvantaged individuals in recruitment, enrollment, and placement activities. Equal access will be provided to handicapped and disadvantaged individuals to the full range of vocational programs available to non-handicapped and non-disadvantaged individuals, including occupationally specific courses of study, cooperative education, and apprenticeship programs. Vocational education programs and activities for handicapped individuals will be provided in the least restrictive environment in accordance with IDEA and will, whenever appropriate, be involved as a component IEP of the Individualized Education Plan. Vocational education planning for handicapped individuals will be coordinated between appropriate representatives of vocational education and special education. Each local educational agency shall, with respect to that portion of the allotment distributed in accordance with Section 203(a), for vocational education services and activities for handicapped individuals and disadvantaged individuals, provide information to handicapped and disadvantaged students and parents of such students concerning the opportunities available in vocational education at least 1 year before the students enter the grade level in which vocational education programs are first generally available in the state, but in no event later than the beginning of the 9th grade, together with the requirements for eligibility for enrollment in such vocational education programs. Council of State Administrators of Vocational Rehabilitation List of Resources, csavr.org/references-links-publications. ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, homepage usdoj.gov/crt/ada/ADA-OM1.htm. ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, Technical Assistance Program adada.org. Ability Resources. ability-resources.org Able Tech. okabletech.okstate.edu. Accredited Schools Online, helping students with visual impairments. Accredited schools.online.org/resources/helping-students-with-visual-impairments. Affordable Colleges Online resources for students with disabilities. affordablecollegesonline.org/college-resources-for-students-with-disabilities. American Association of People with Disabilities. aapd-dc.org. American Council for the Blind. acb.org. American Foundation for the Blind. afb.org/default.asp. American Printing House for the Blind. aph.org. America's Service Locator. servicelocator.org. Career Honest Op Coach. honestopcoach.org. Careers in Vocational Rehabilitation. rehabjobs.org. Census Bureau, Disability Statistics census.gov/he/www/disability.html. Cornell University. cornell.edu. Congress. congress.org. congress.gov. DefNation. defnation.com. Deaf Resource Library. deflibrary.org. Deaf World Web. defworldcb.org. Department of Labor. dol.gov/odp. Disability. disability.gov is now dol.gov/odp/topics/disability.htm. Gallaudet University. gallaudet.edu. For Deaf Folk. George Washington University. gsched.gwu.edu/programs/masters-rehabilitation-counseling. Institute on Rehabilitation Issues, IRI. iriforum.org. Job Accommodation Network. askjan.org. Library of Congress National Library Service for the Blind and Physically Handicapped. lcweb.loc.gov/nls. MoneyGeek, Guide to Scholarships and Grants for Students with Disabilities. moneygeek.com/education/scholarship-search. National Association of State Workforce Agencies. NASWA.org. National Braille Press. NBP.org. National Clearinghouse of Rehabilitation Training Materials. ncrtm.ed.gov. National Collaborative on Workforce and Disability for Youth ncwd-youth.info. National Business Partnerships. nbpjobs.org. National Council on Disabilities. ncd.gov. National Federation of the Blind. nfb.org. National Governors Association. nga.org. National Institute on Disability and Rehabilitation Research, NIDR. ed.gov/offices/osiris/nidrr. National Information Center for Children and Youth with Disabilities, NICHC. New website, parentcenterhub.org/nichci-gon. National Rehabilitation Leadership Institute. interwork.sdsu.edu/nrli/index.html. National Parent Network on Disabilities. npnd.org. National Organization on Disabilities. nod.org. National Technical Assistance Consortium for Children and Young Adults who are deaf-blind. tr.wou.edu/ntac. National Technical Institute for the Deaf. rit.edu/ntid. Nelson A. Rockefeller Institute of Government. rockinst.org. Oasis. oasis.ouhsc.edu. Office of Disability Employment Policy. dol.gov/dol/odp. Office of Handicapped Concerns. state.ok.us/oak. PECATAC, the Technical Assistance Center for Program Evaluation and Quality Assurance, PEQA, assists state VR agencies in building capacity through professional education and training of VR evaluators. pequatac.org. Rehabilitation Act Amendments of 1998. ed.gov/offices/ozrs/rsa/rehabact.html. The National Research and Training Center on Blindness and Low Vision. blind.msstate.edu/research/current-research/rrdc_2015.php. Rehabilitation Services Administration. ed.gov/offices/ozrs/rsa. Social Security Online. ssa.gov. Sooner Start, Early Intervention. sde.state.ok.us/pro/ei.html. The playlists, Disability Resources for WIOA Practitioners Workforce GPS Disability and Employment Community of Practice. disability.workforcegps.org/resources. Ticket to Work. yourticketowork.com. U.S. Access Board. access-board.gov. U.S. Department of Justice. usdoj.gov. U.S. Chamber. uchamber.com/cwp. U.S. House of Representatives. house.gov. U.S. Senate. senate.gov. USA. Workforce. usworkforce.org. Web Accessibility Initiative. w3.org/WAI. Welfare Information Network. welfareinfo.org. White House. whitehouse.gov. WinTAC. wintac.org. Chapter 2. A Vocational Rehabilitation Website Guide. Vocational Rehabilitation Websites 1. Vocational Rehabilitation Services, Can It Help You? An online module at the Heath Resource Center. heath.gwu.edu/index.php $?content&task $view $ID $1059 item ID $65. Getting the most from the public vocational rehabilitation system. communityinclusion.org/article.php $article_ID $129. rehabnetwork.org. rehabnetwork.org/directors_contact.htm, listing of the U.S. State Directors of Vocational Rehabilitation. napas.org/aboutus/pa_cap.htm, information about client assistance programs that help individuals obtain vocational rehabilitation services. worklink.com. vrri.org, Vocation and Rehabilitation Institute. heath.gwu.edu. Vocational Rehabilitation Websites 2. Go to local.yahoo.com, then type in the name of your town along with the term vocational rehabilitation. 2020-horizon.com. ADA Toolkit for Vocational Rehabilitation Professionals. adacourse.org/solutions.php $IDA =VR, avape.org.br/portal/en/clinical-rehabilitation.html. careerdepot.org/drs.htm, rehabilitation job readiness specialists. cde.state.co.us/school-to-career/download/pdf/align_vr.pdf. childrenise.com/vocational_guidance.html. disability.gov.ed.gov/programs/vramaran/legislation.html, statutes, regulations, legislation, policy guidance, and flexibility provisions for the vocational rehabilitation services projects for American Indians with disabilities. mass.gov/eah/consumer/disability-services/edu-guidance/vocational-services.html. disabilitycompass.org. disabilityresources.org/voc-rehab.html. deolata.gov/disability/1pages/mn_mrc_ito-nepage.cfm, Disability Information Technology Initiative. ed.gov/about/offices/list/ocr/docs/howto.html, vocational education. ed.gov/policy/spest/reg/narrative.html. ehow.com, what is vocational rehabilitation? en.wikipedia.org/wiki/vocational_rehabilitation_act. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/vocational_and_employment_left_convention, 1983, an International Labour Organization convention. Facebook.com/vocational GUI dances or vices. healthyworkinglives.com/advice/vocational-rehabilitation/definition.aspx. healthyworkinglives.com/advice/vocational-rehabilitation/index.aspx. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/vocational-rehabilitation_act_of_1973. minddisorders.com/pi-z/vocational-rehabilitation.html. nchrtm.ok-state.edu/resources/state_vr.html, each U.S. state has a division of vocational rehabilitation that provides vocational rehabilitation services to individuals with disabilities. idea.ed.gov. ilo.org, independent living. khake.com/page98.html, work-based learning with students with disabilities, career guidance resources. kirksville.k12.mo.us/tech_center/student_services/voc_evaluation.htm, vocational evaluation center. lotsofessays.com. lsnjlaw.org/disabilities/employment/pages/vocational-rehabilitation-services.aspx. naranet.org, National Association of Rehab Providers and Agencies, NARA. nationalrehab.org. nationalrehab.org/cwt/external/wc pages/chapters. nchrtm.okstate.edu/rrc, vocational rehabilitation programs. ncsct.org/topics/careers/faqs.asp. ncsocrc.org, National Consortium of State-Operated Comprehensive Rehabilitation Centers. nrca-net.org, National Rehabilitation Counseling Association. pacer.org/tatras/resources/vr.asp. pioneerservices.org. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/vocational_rehabilitation. centaen.net, case management and vocational rehabilitation services in the evaluation and treatment of brain injury. prc-usa.com, PRC Vocational Testing Center. pva.org, Vocational Rehabilitation, Paralyzed Veterans of America. quicknoc.com, Vocational Alternatives Software. reference-for-business.com/encyclopedia/val-z/vocational-rehabilitation.html. rehabsurvey.com, expertise in forensic economics, vocational rehabilitation, ergonomics, and the ADA. Based in Florida. rehabilitationnetwork.com. rehabilitation-network.org/vocational_rehab.htm. rehabnetwork.org/directors_contact.htm, listing of the U.S. State Directors of Vocational Rehabilitation. rehabworks.org, a federal state program that works with people who have physical or mental disabilities to prepare for employment. scc.sanscode.com/services/vocational-guidance. vgsjob.org, vocational guidance services each year to nearly 5,000 individuals with physical or mental disabilities. vocationalassessments.com, how assessments are performed. vocationalguidanceservices.org. Vocational Guidance Services tx.com/about.html, training services to people with physical and mental disabilities. vrri.org, Vocation and Rehabilitation Institute. worklink.com. Chapter 3. A Vocational Rehabilitation Organization Guide. Vocational Rehabilitation Organizations, Council of State Administrators of Vocational Rehabilitation. epub 3776. Washington, D.C. 20007. 202-638-4634. csavr.org. National Clearinghouse on Post-Secondary Education for Individuals with Handicaps. 1 DuPont Circle, NW. Number 800. Washington, D.C. 20036. 202-939-9320. 800-544-3284. ed.gov. National Rehabilitation Center. 8455 Colesville Road. Number 935. Silver Spring, Maryland 20910. 800-227-0216. 800-346-2742. 301-588-9284. narisi.com. rehabnetwork.org/directors_contact.htm, listing of the U.S. State Directors of Vocational Rehabilitation. Council of State Administrators of Vocational Rehabilitation. epub 3776. Washington, D.C. 20007. 202-638-4634. rehabnetwork.org. National Clearinghouse on Post-Secondary Education for Individuals with Handicaps. 1 DuPont Circle, NW. Number 800. Washington, D.C. 20036. 202-939-9320. 800-544-3284. ed.gov. Association for the Advancement of Rehabilitation Technology. RISNA. Technical Assistance Project. 1700 North Moore Street. Number 1540. Arlington, Virginia 22209-1903. 703-524-6686. Fax 703-524-6630. 703-524-6639, TTY. rsna.org. National Association of Rehabilitation Professionals in the Private Sector. 1661 Worcester Road. Number 203. Farmingham, Massachusetts 01701. 508-820-8889. Fax 508-820-4337. narpps.org. Search their directory of over 3,000 members to find someone in your area. National Rehabilitation Association. 633-5. Washington, St. Number 300. Alexandria, Virginia 22314. 703-836-0850. Fax 703-836-0848. nationalrehab.org. National Rehabilitation Counseling Association. 8807 Sudley Road. Number 102. Manassas, Virginia 20110-4719. 703-361-2077. Fax 703-361-2489. nrca-net.org. National Rehabilitation Information Center, NARIC. 8455 Colesville Road. Number 935. Silver Spring, Maryland 20910. 301-588-9284. Fax 301-587-1967. 800-346-2742. 800-34-NARIC. 800-227-0216. narisi.com. National Clearinghouse on Post-Secondary Education for Individuals with Handicaps. 1 DuPont Circle, NW. Number 800. Washington, D.C. 20036. 202-939-9320. 800-544-3284. ed.gov. Vocational Rehabilitation Associations and Organizations. Avrasa.org, Association of Vocational Rehabilitation in Alcoholism and Substance Abuse, Avrasa. NIB.org, National Industries for the Blind, NIB. U.S. state and local vocational rehabilitation organizations. Alabama. IBAIDB.com, Alabama Industries for the Blind, IB. Delaware. Pendelaire.org, Association for Education and Rehabilitation of the Blind and Visually Impaired, Pennsylvania-Delaware Chapter, Pendelaire. Florida. Rehabworks.org, Florida Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, FDVR. Louisiana. LRCboard.org, Louisiana Licensed Professional Vocational Rehabilitation Counselors Board of Examiners. Maryland. BISM.com, Blind Industries and Services of Maryland, BISM. Minnesota. MNAIR.org, Association for Education and Rehabilitation of the Blind and Visually Impaired, AIR, of Minnesota. Mississippi. MSBlind.org, Mississippi Industries for the Blind, MIB. New York. IBNES.org, Industries for the Blind of New York State, IBNES. Ohio. OhioBWC.com. Pennsylvania. Pendelaire.org, Association for Education and Rehabilitation of the Blind and Visually Impaired, Pennsylvania-Delaware Chapter, Pendelaire. South Carolina. SCVRD.net, South Carolina Vocational Rehabilitation Department, SCVRD. Texas. twcc.state.tx.us. Wisconsin. IBMILW.com, Industries for the Blind, Milwaukee.gov, Milwaukee. Wisconsin, WI. Chapter 4. U.S. State Vocational Websites by State. State Vocational Rehabilitation Agencies 1. AskGen.org/cgi-win/typequery.exe ?902, Vocational Rehabilitation, VR, State Offices. This site provides a directory of contacts for state VR offices. Additional links provide contact information for local offices within states. State vocational rehabilitation agencies coordinate and provide counseling, evaluation, and job placement services for people with disabilities. There are also services for the sight and hearing impaired. Beyond this office, some states have special client assistance offices for handicapped people who need general assistance or who have a beef against anyone. Contact the following offices for specific information about access guides to various places, and if they don't have that information, they should at least know where you can get it. Preface each of these addresses with the state name followed by Department of Vocational and Rehabilitation Services. Alabama Vocational Rehabilitation. Alabama Department of Rehabilitation Services. Vocational Rehabilitation Services. 602 South Lawrence St. Montgomery, Alabama 36104. Toll free, 800-441-7607. Direct, 334-281-8780. Fax, 334-293-7383. Rehab.state.al.us. Alaska Vocational Rehabilitation. Alaska Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. 801 West 10th Street Suite A. Juneau, Alaska 99801-1894. Toll free, 800-478-2815. Direct, 907-465-2814. Fax, 907-465-2856. labor.state.ak.us/dvr/home.htm. Arizona Vocational Rehabilitation. Arizona Rehabilitation Services Administration. 103 West Highland Avenue Suite 202. Phoenix, Arizona 85013. Toll free, 800-563-1221. TTY, 855-475-8194. azday.gov/RSA. Arkansas Vocational Rehabilitation. Arkansas Rehabilitation Services Administration. 1616 Brookwood Drive, Little Rock, Arkansas 72202. Toll free, 800-330-0632. Direct, 501-296-1600. TTY, 501-296-1600. Fax, 501-296-1655. arsinfo.org. Arkansas Department of Human Services. Division of Services for the Blind. 700 Main Street. P.O. Box 3237. Little Rock, Arkansas 72203. Toll free, 800-960-9270. Direct, 501-682-5463. TTY, 501-682-0093. Fax, 501-682-0366. state.ar.us/dhs/dsb. California Vocational Rehabilitation. California Department of Rehabilitation. 721 Capitol Mall. P.O. Box 94422. Sacramento, California 95814. Direct, 916-324-1313. TTY, 916-558-5807. 916-558-5320. rehab.cahwnet.gov. Colorado Vocational Rehabilitation. Colorado Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. 1574 Sherman Avenue. 4th floor. Denver, Colorado 80203. Toll free, 866-870-4595. Direct, 303-866-4150. TTY, 719-589-5150. Fax, 303-866-4905. voc.rehab@state.co.us. dvrcolorado.com. Connecticut Vocational Rehabilitation. Connecticut Bureau of Rehabilitation Services. Department of Social Services. 25 Sigourney Street. Hartford, Connecticut 06106-5033. Toll free, 800-537-2549. Direct, 860-424-4840. TTY, 860-424-4839. brs.state.ct.us. State of Connecticut Board of Education and Services for the Blind. 184 Windsor Avenue. Windsor, Connecticut 06095. Direct, 860-602-4000. TTY, 860-602-4221. besb@po.state.ct.us. besb.state.ct.us. Delaware Vocational Rehabilitation. Delaware Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. 4425 North Market Street. Wilmington, Delaware 19089. Direct, 302-761-8300. TTY, 302-761-8300. delawareworks.com/dvr/welcome.shtml. Delaware Health and Social Services. Division for the Visually Impaired. 1901 North DuPont Highway. Main Building. Newcastle, Delaware 19720. Direct, 302-255-9040. Fax, 302-255-4429. 302-744-5444. 4556. state.de.us/dhss/dvi/index.html. District of Columbia Vocational Rehabilitation. District of Columbia Department on Disability Services. 1125 15th Street NW. Washington, D.C. 20005. Direct, 202-730-1700. dds.dc.gov/dc/dds. Florida Vocational Rehabilitation. Florida Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. 4070 Esplanade Way. Tallahassee, Florida 32399-7016. Toll free, 800-451-4327. Direct, 850-245-3399. TTY, 800-451-4327. Rehabworks.org. Florida Division of Blind Services. 1320 Executive Center Drive Room 201. Tallahassee, Florida 32399-2050. Toll free, 800-672-7038. Direct, 850-245-0370. Fax, 850-245-0386. dbs.myflorida.com. Georgia Vocational Rehabilitation. Vocational Rehabilitation Program. 200 Piedmont Avenue Southeast. West Tower, 5th floor. Atlanta, Georgia 30334. Toll free, 866-489-0001. Direct, 404-232-1998. vrworks.org. Hawaii Vocational Rehabilitation. State Vocational Rehabilitation and Services for the Blind Division. 1901 Bach Elliott St. Honolulu, Hi. Direct, 808-586-9744. TTY, 808-586-9755. info@hawaiivr.org. hawaiivr.org. Idaho Vocational Rehabilitation. Idaho Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. PO Box 83720, 650 West State Street Room 150. Boise, Idaho 83720-0096. Direct, 208-334-3390. Fax, 208-334-5305. C. Campbell@vr.idaho.gov. vr.idaho.gov. Idaho Commission for the Blind and Visually Impaired. 341 West Washington Street. PO Box 83720, Boise, Idaho 83702-0012. Toll free, 800-542-8688. Direct, 208-334-3220. Fax, 208-334-2963. icb6.state.id.us. Illinois Vocational Rehabilitation. Illinois Department of Human Services, Office of Rehabilitation Services. 100 South Grand Avenue E. Springfield, Illinois 62762. Toll free, 800-843-6154. TTY, 800-447-6404. dhs.ors@illinois.gov. dhs.state.il.us/ors. Indiana Vocational Rehabilitation. Vocational Rehabilitation Services. 402 West Washington St. No. W451. PO Box 7083 MS26. Indianapolis, Indiana 46207-7083. Toll free, 800-545-7763. Fax, 317-232-1240. in.gov/fss/2328.hdm. Iowa Vocational Rehabilitation. Iowa Vocational Rehabilitation Services. 510 East 12th Street. Des Moines, Iowa 50319-0240. Toll free, 800-532-1486. Direct, 515-281-4211. TTY, 515-281-4211. Fax, 515-281-7645. ivrs.iowa.gov. Iowa Department for the Blind. 524 4th Street. Des Moines, Iowa 50309-2364. Toll free, 800-362-2587. Direct, 515-281-1333. TTY, 515-281-1355. Fax, 515-281-1263. Information at blind.state.ia.us. blind.state.ia.us. Kansas Vocational Rehabilitation Services. Kansas Rehabilitation Services Commission. Docking State Office Building, 9th floor north. 915 SW Harrison. Topeka, Kansas 66612. Toll free, 866-213-9079. Direct, 785-368-7471. TTY, 785-368-7478. Fax, 785-368-7467. Rehabilitation.services at srs.ks.gov. srs.ks.gov/agency/rs/pages/contactars.aspx. Kentucky Vocational Rehabilitation. Kentucky Department of Vocational Rehabilitation. 275 East Main Street. Mail Stop 2EK. Frankfort, Kentucky 40621. Toll free, 800-372-7172. Direct, 502-564-4440. wfd.vocrehab@ky.org. ovr.ky.gov. Kentucky Office for the Blind. P.O. Box 757. 209 St. Clair Street. Frankfort, Kentucky 40602-0757. Toll free, 800-321-6668. Direct, 502-564-4754. TTY, 502-564-2929. Fax, 502-564-2951. 877-592-5463. blind@ky.gov. blind.ky.gov. Louisiana Vocational Rehabilitation. Louisiana Workforce Commission. 627 North 4th St. Baton Rouge, Louisiana 70821-9297. Toll free, 800-737-2958. Direct, 225-219-2225. Fax, 225-219-2942. lawrks.net/workforcedev/lrs/lrs_main.asp. Maine Vocational Rehabilitation. Maine Bureau of Rehabilitation Services. 150 State House Station. Augusta, Maine 04333-0150. Toll free, 800-698-4440. Direct, 207-624-5950. TTY, 800-755-0023. Fax, 207-287-5292. maine.gov/rehab. Maryland Vocational Rehabilitation. Maryland State Department of Education, Division of Rehabilitation Services. 2301 Argonne Drive. Baltimore, Maryland 21218-1696. Toll free, 888-554-0334. Direct, 410-554-9442. TTY, 410-554-9442. 9411. Fax, 410-554-9412. Doors at doors.state.md.us. doors.state.md.us. Massachusetts Vocational Rehabilitation. Massachusetts Rehabilitation Commission. 600 Washington Street, Boston, Massachusetts 02111. Toll free, 800-245-6543. Direct, 617-204-3600. Fax, 617-727-1354. mass.gov/ea/gov/departments/MRC. Massachusetts State Commission for the Blind. 600 Washington Street, Boston, Massachusetts 02111. Toll free, 800-392-6450. Direct, 617-727-5550. TTY, 800-392-6556. Fax, 617-626-7685. mass.gov/mcb. Michigan Vocational Rehabilitation. Michigan Rehabilitation Services. 201 North Washington Square, 4th floor. P.O. Box 30010. Lansing, Michigan 48909. Toll free, 800-605-6722. Direct, 517-373-2062. TTY, 888-605-6722. Fax, 517-335-7277. Michigan.gov/mdcd/0,160-7-252-2-2-2-00.html. Michigan Commission for the Blind. 201 N Washington, 2nd floor. PO Box 30652, Lansing, Michigan 48909. Toll free, 800-292-4200. Direct, 517-373-2062. TTY, 888-864-1212. Fax, 517-335-5140. Michigan.gov/deleg/0,16077-154-28313-00.html. Minnesota Vocational Rehabilitation. Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development. First National Bank Building, 332 Minnesota Street Suite E200. St. Paul, Minnesota 55101-1351. Toll free, 800-328-9095. Direct, 651-259-7366. TTY, 800-657-3973. Fax, 651-297-5159. deed.state.mn.us/rehab. Minnesota State Services for the Blind. 2200 University Avenue, Suite 240. St. Paul, Minnesota 55114-1840. Toll free, 800-652-9000. Direct, 651-642-0500. TTY, 651-642-0506. mnssb.org. Mississippi Vocational Rehabilitation. Mississippi Department of Rehabilitation Services. 1281 Highway 51. P.O. Box 1698. Madison, Mississippi 39110. Toll free, 800-443-1000. mdrs.state.ms.us. Missouri Vocational Rehabilitation. Missouri Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. 3024 DuPont Circle, Jefferson City, Missouri 65109. Toll free, 222-8963. Direct, 573-751-3251. TTY, 573-751-0881. Fax, 573-751-1441. info@vr.dis.mo.gov. dis.mo.gov/vr. Missouri Department of Social Services. Rehabilitation Services for the Blind. P.O. Box 2320. 615 Howard Court. Jefferson City, Missouri 65102-2320. Toll free, 800-592-6004. Direct, 573-751-4249. Fax, 573-751-4984. Ask RSB at dss.mo.gov. dss.mo.gov/fsd/rsb/index.htm. Montana Vocational Rehabilitation. Montana Vocational Rehabilitation. 111 Sanders Suite 307. PO Box 4210, Helena, Montana 59604-4210. Toll free, 877-296-1197. Direct, 406-444-2590. TTY, 406-444-2590. Fax, 406-444-3632. dphs.mt.gov/dsd/vrs/index.shtml. Nebraska Vocational Rehabilitation. Nebraska Department of Education, Vocational Rehabilitation. P.O. Box 94987. Lincoln, Nebraska 68509. Toll free, 877-637-3422. Direct, 402-471-3644. Fax, 304-471-0788. marketingteam.vr@nebraska.gov. vr.nebraska.gov. National Statler Center. Direct, 716-882-1025. olmstedcenter.org/Statler Center. Nebraska Commission for the Blind and Visually Impaired. 4600 Valley Road. Suite 100. Lincoln, Nebraska 69510-4844. Toll free, 877-809-2419. Direct, 402-471-2891. Fax, 402-471-3009. ncb6.ne.gov. ncb6.ne.gov. Nevada Vocational Rehabilitation. Nevada Bureau of Vocational Rehabilitation. 1370 South Curry Street. Carson City, Nevada 89703-5146. Direct, 775-684-4040. TTY, 775-684-8400. Fax, 775-684-4186. detarvr@nvdetr.org. detar.state.nv.us/rehab/re_vorh.htm. New Hampshire Vocational Rehabilitation. 21 South Fruit Street Suite 20. Concord, New Hampshire 03301. Toll free, 800-299-1647. Direct, 603-271-3471. Fax, 603-271-7095. pwheeler@ed.state.nh.us. education.nh.gov/career/vocational. New Jersey Vocational Rehabilitation. New Jersey Division of Vocational Rehabilitation Services. P.O. Box 398. 135 East State Street, 3rd floor. Trenton, New Jersey 08625-0398. Direct, 609-292-5444. 5987. TTY 609-292-2919. Fax 609-292-8347. dvradmin@dole.state.newjersey.us. jobs4jersey/jobseekers/job-seekers/disable/index.html. New Mexico Vocational Rehabilitation. New Mexico Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. 435 St. Michael's Drive. Building D. Santa Fe, New Mexico 87505. Toll free 800-224-7005. Direct 505-954-8500. 505-954-8562. dvrgetsjobs.com. New York State Office of Children and Family Services. Commission for the Blind and Visually Handicapped. Capitol View Office Park. South Building, Room 201. 52 Washington Street. Rensselaer, New York 12144. Direct 518-474-6812. Fax 518-486-5819. New York Vocational Rehabilitation. Adult Career and Continuing Education Services, Vocational Rehabilitation. 1 Commerce Plaza, Room 1609. Albany, New York 12234. Toll free 800-222-5627. Direct 518-474-1711. VESIDADM@mail.nicd.gov. atchis.nicd.gov/vr. North Carolina Vocational Rehabilitation. North Carolina Division of Vocational Rehabilitation Services. 2801 Mail Service Center. Raleigh, North Carolina 27699-2801. Toll free 800-689-9090. Direct 919-855-3500. TTY 919-855-3579. dvr.webinforequest@dhhs.nc.gov. ncdhhs.gov/dvrs. North Dakota Vocational Rehabilitation. North Dakota Vocational Rehabilitation. 117 1st Street East. Dickinson, North Dakota 58601. Toll free 888-227-7525. Direct 701-227-7600. TTY 701-227-7620. Fax 701-227-7618. nd.gov/dhs/services/disabilities/vr/contact.html. Ohio Vocational Rehabilitation. Opportunities for Ohioans with disabilities. 400 East Campus View Boulevard, SW3C. Columbus, Ohio 43235-4604. Toll free 800-282-4536. Direct 614-438-1200. TTY 614-438-1200. Fax 614-438-1257. ood.ohio.gov. Oklahoma Vocational Rehabilitation. Oklahoma Department of Rehabilitation Services. 3535 Northwest 58th Street Suite 500. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma 73112-4815. Toll free 800-845-8476. Direct 405-951-3400. Fax 405-951-3529. okrehab.org. Oregon Vocational Rehabilitation. State of Oregon Vocational Rehabilitation Division. 500 Summer St. Northeast E87. Salem, Oregon 97301-1120. Toll free 877-277-0513. Direct, 503-945-5880. Fax, 503-947-5010. vr.info@state.or.us. Oregon.gov/DHS/VR. Pennsylvania Vocational Rehabilitation. Pennsylvania Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. 1521 North 6th Street. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania 17102. Toll free, 800-442-6351. Direct, 717-787-5244. TTY, 717-787-4885. portal.state.pa.us/portal/server.pt/community/vocational_rehabilitation/10356. Puerto Rico Vocational Rehabilitation. Puerto Rico Vocational Rehabilitation Administration. Department of Labor and Human Services. PO Box 191118, San Juan, Puerto Rico 00919-1118. Direct, 787-728-6620. Fax, 787-728-3580. Maria Mercedes at vra.gobierno.pr. pr.gov/agencies/arv/pages/default.aspx. Rhode Island Vocational Rehabilitation. Rhode Island Office of Rehabilitation Services. 40 Fountain Street. Providence, Rhode Island 02903. Direct, 401-421-7005. TTY, 401-421-7016. Fax, 401-222-3574. ors.state.ri.us. South Carolina Vocational Rehabilitation. South Carolina Vocational Rehabilitation Department. 1410 Boston Avenue. P.O. Box 15. West Columbia, South Carolina 29171-0015. Toll free, 800-832-7526. Direct, 803-896-6500. TTY, 803-896-6553. Fax, 803-896-6525. info@scvrd.state.sc.us. scvrd.net. South Dakota Vocational Rehabilitation. South Dakota Division of Rehabilitation Services. Properties Plaza. 3800 East Highway 34. C/0500 East Capitol. Pierre, South Dakota 57501-5070. Toll free, 800-265-9684. Direct, 605-773-3195. TTY, 605-773-6412. Fax, 605-773-5483. Info dhs@state.sd.us. dhs.sd.gov/drs/vocrehab/vr.aspx. Tennessee Vocational Rehabilitation. Tennessee Division of Vocational Rehabilitation Services. Citizens Plaza State Office Building. 2nd floor, 400 Dederick Street. Nashville, Tennessee 37243-1403. Direct, 615-313-4891. TTY, 615-313-5695. Fax, 615-741-6508. Tennessee.gov/humanservice/rehab/vrs.html. Texas Vocational Rehabilitation. Texas Department of Assistive and Rehabilitative Services. 4900 North Lamar Boulevard. Austin, Texas 78751. Toll free, 800-628-5115. TTY, 866-581-9633. 9328. dars.inquiries@dars.state.tx.us. dars.state.tx.us. Utah Vocational Rehabilitation. Utah State Office of Rehabilitation. P.O. Box 144200. Salt Lake City, Utah 84114-4200. Toll free, 800-473-7530. Direct, 801-538-7530. TTY, 801-538-7530. Fax, 801-538-7522. User.utah.gov. Vermont Vocational Rehabilitation. Vermont Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. 103 South Main Street. Weeks 1A. Waterbury, Vermont 05671-2303. Toll free, 866-879-6757. TTY, 802-241-1455. vocrehab.vermont.gov. Virginia Department for the Blind and Vision Impaired. 397 Azalea Avenue. Richmond, Virginia 23227. Toll free, 800-622-2155. Direct, 804-371-3145. Fax, 804-371-3157. vdb6.org. Virginia Vocational Rehabilitation. Department for Aging and Rehabilitative Services. 8004 Franklin Farms Drive. Henrico, Virginia 23299-5019. Toll free, 800-552-5019. Direct, 804-662-7000. TTY, 800-464-9950. Fax, 804-662-9532. dars@dars.virginia.gov. vadrs.org. Washington State Department of Services for the Blind. 4565 7th Avenue Southeast. Lacey, Washington 98503. Toll free, 800-552-7103. info@dsb.wa.gov. dsb.wa.gov. Washington Vocational Rehabilitation. Washington State Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. P.O. Box 45340. Olympia, Washington 98504. Toll free, 800-637-5627. Direct, 360-725-3636. TTY, 800-637-5627. Fax, 360-438-8007. dshs.wa.gov/dvr. West Virginia Vocational Rehabilitation. West Virginia Division of Rehabilitation Services. P.O. Box 1004. Institute, West Virginia 25112. Direct, 304-766-4600. wvdrs.org. Wisconsin Vocational Rehabilitation. Wisconsin Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. 201 East Washington Avenue. P.O. Box 7852, Madison, Wisconsin 53707-7852. Toll free, 800-442-3477. Direct, 608-261-0050. TTY, 888-877-5939. Fax, 608-266-1133. dwd.dvr@dwd.wisconsin.gov. dwd.wisconsin.gov/dvr. Wyoming Vocational Rehabilitation. 122 West 25th Street. Hirschler Building. Cheyenne, Wyoming 82002. Direct, 307-777-7389. Fax, 307-777-5857. jmcint@state.wy.us. wyomingworkforce.org/vr. State Vocational Rehabilitation Agencies 2. soar.askjan.org/issue-concern/214. Alabama Department of Rehabilitation Services. 602 South Lawrence St. Montgomery, Alabama 36104. Toll free, 800-441-7607. Local, 334-293-7500. Fax, 334-293-7383. rehab.alabama.gov/home. Products. Alabama VRS Policy Manual. Alaska Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. 1016 W6th. Suite 403. Anchorage, Alaska 99501-1963. Toll free, 888-330-6468. Local, 907-269-3580. TTY, 907-269-3580. Fax, 907-269-3636. labor.state.ak.us/dvr/home.hdm. Products. Self-Employment Guidelines for Alaska DVR. Arizona Rehabilitation Services. 3221 North 16th St. Suite 200. Phoenix, Arizona 85016-7159. Toll free, 800-563-1221. TTY, 855-475-8194. des.az.gov/services/employment/Arizona-rehabilitation-services. Products. Arizona VR Policy Manual. Arkansas Rehabilitation Services, ARS. 525 West Capitol Avenue. Little Rock, Arkansas 72201. Toll free, 800-330-0632. ace.arkansas.gov/AR-rehab-services/pages/default.aspx. California Department of Rehabilitation. 721 Capitol Mall. Sacramento, California 95814. P.O. Box 94422. Sacramento, California 94244-2220. Toll free, 800-952-5544. Local, 916-324-1313. TTY, 916-558-5807. General Contact, externalaffairs@door.ca.gov. rehab.cahwnet.gov. Colorado Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. 633 17th Street. Suite 1501. Denver, Colorado 80202. Local, 303-318-8571. Fax, 303-318-8569. General Contact, voc.rehab@state.co.us. dvrcolorado.com. Connecticut Bureau of Rehabilitation Services. 55 Farmington Avenue. 12th floor. Hartford, Connecticut 06105. Toll free, 800-537-2549. Local, 860-424-4844. TTY, 860-247-0775. Fax, 860-424-4850. Video 860-920-7163. General Contact, doors.brs.contactus@ct.gov. ct.gov/brs/site/default.asp. Products. Section 4, I, Services leading to the goal of small business ownership. Delaware Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. 4425 North Market Street. Wilmington, Delaware 19089. Local 302-761-8275. TTY 302-761-8275. dvr.delawareworks.com. Products. Delaware, Choices Vocational Rehabilitation Services. District of Columbia Vocational Rehabilitation. 1125 15th Street NW. Washington, D.C. 20005. Local 202-730-1700. TTY 202-730-1516. General contact dds@dc.gov. dds.dc.gov/service/vocational-rehabilitation-services-RSA. Florida Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. 4070 Esplanade Way, Tallahassee, Florida 32399-7016. Toll free 800-451-4327. Local 850-245-3399. General contact ombudsman@vr.fldoe.org. rehabworks.org. Products. Florida Self-Employment and Supported Self-Employment Best Practice and Informational Guide, RTF. Georgia Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. 200 Piedmont Avenue Southeast. West Tower, 5th floor. Atlanta, Georgia 30334. Toll free 844-367-4872. Local 404-463-1103. Fax 404-331-3769. gvra.georgia.gov. Hawaii Vocational Rehabilitation. 75 Apuni St. Room 110. Hilo, Hawaii 96720. Local 808-586-9741. Local 808-974-6444. humanservices.hawaii.gov/vocational rehab. Idaho Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. 650 West State St. Room 150. Boise, Idaho 83720. Local 208-334-3390. Fax 208-334-5305. General contact department.info@vr.idaho.gov. vr.idaho.gov. Illinois Division of Rehabilitation Services. 600 East St. Building 400. Springfield, Illinois 62703. Toll free 800-843-6154. TTY 800-447-6404. General contact dhs.drs@illinois.gov. dhs.state.il.us/page.aspx?item=29736. Indiana Vocational Rehabilitation Services. 402 West Washington St. number W451. P.O. Box 7083, MS26. Indianapolis, Indiana 46207-7083. Toll free 800-545-7763. Fax 317-232-1240. in.gov/fss/ddrs/2636.hdm. Iowa Vocational Rehabilitation Services. 510 East 12th Street. Des Moines, Iowa 50319-0240. Toll free 800-532-1486. Local 515-281-4211. TTY 515-281-4211. Fax 515-281-7645. ivrs.iowa.gov. Kansas Vocational Rehabilitation. 555 S. Kansas. 3rd floor. Topeka, Kansas 66603. Toll free, 866-213-9079. Local, 785-368-7471. TTY, 785-368-7478. Fax, 785-368-7467. dcf.ks.gov/services/rs/pages/employment-services.aspx. Kentucky Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. 275 East Main Street. Mail Stop 2EK. Frankfort, Kentucky 40621. Toll free, 800-372-7172. Local, 502-564-4440. TTY, 800-372-7172. General contact, wfd.vocrehab@ky.gov. ovr.ky.gov. Louisiana Rehabilitation Services. 950 North 22nd Street. P.O. Box 91297. Baton Rouge, Louisiana 70821-9297. Toll free, 800-737-2958. Local, 225-219-2225. Fax, 225-219-2942. lawrks.net/workforcedev/lrs/lrs_main.asp. Products. Louisiana Vocational Rehabilitation Policy Manual. Maine Vocational Rehabilitation. 150 State House Station. Augusta, Maine 04333-0150. Local, 207-623-6799. Fax, 207-287-5292. Maine.gov/rehab. Maryland Division of Rehabilitation Services. 2301 Argonne Drive. Baltimore, Maryland 21218-1696. Toll free, 888-554-0334. Local, 410-554-9442. Video, 443, 798-2840. General contact, doors@maryland.gov. doors.maryland.gov/pages/default.aspx. Massachusetts Rehabilitation Commission, MRC. 600 Washington Street. Boston, Massachusetts 02111. Toll free, 800-245-6543. Local, 617-204-3600. TTY, 800-245-6543. Fax, 617-727-1354. mass.gov/ea/gov/departments/mrc. Products. Massachusetts Home-Based and Self-Employment Guide. Michigan Rehabilitation Services. 235 South Grand Avenue. Suite 414. Lansing, Michigan 48909. Toll free, 800-605-6722. TTY, 800-605-6722. Michigan.gov/DHS/0, 456-7-124-532-00.html. Products. Do I Want to Own My Own Business? A Guide from Michigan Rehabilitation Services, MRS. Michigan Rehabilitation Services, MRS, Guide to Self-Employment. Minnesota Vocational Rehabilitation Services. First National Bank Building. 332 Minnesota Street Suite E200. St. Paul, Minnesota 55101-1351. Toll free, 800-657-3858. Local, 651-259-7114. TTY, 651-296-3900. General contact, deed.customerservice@state.mn.us, mn.gov/deed/job-seekers/disabilities. Products. Minnesota VRS Small Business Guidelines. Mississippi Department of Rehabilitation Services. 1281 Highway 51. Madison, Mississippi 39110. P.O. Box 1698. Jackson, Mississippi 39215. Toll free, 800-443-1000. mdrs.ms.gov/pages/default.aspx. Products. Mississippi State Plan for Independent Living. Missouri Vocational Rehabilitation. 205 Jefferson St. Jefferson City, Missouri 65101. Toll free, 877-222-8963. Local, 573-751-3251. TTY, 573-751-0881. Fax, 573-751-1441. General contact, info@vr.dis.mo.gov. dis.mo.gov/adult-learning-rehabilitation-services/vocational-rehabilitation. Montana Vocational Rehabilitation. 111 North Last Chance Gulch, Suite 4C. Helena, Montana 59604-4210. Toll free, 877-296-1197. Local, 406-444-2590. TTY, 406-444-2590. Fax, 406-444-3632. General contact, vrinfo@mt.gov. dphhs.mt.gov/det-d/vocrehab. Nebraska Vocational Rehabilitation. P.O. Box 94987. Lincoln, Nebraska 68509. Toll free, 877-637-3422. Local, 402-471-3644. Fax, 402-471-0788. General contact, marketingteam.vr@nebraska.gov. vr.nebraska.gov. Nevada Bureau of Vocational Rehabilitation. 2800 E St. Louis Ave. Las Vegas, Nevada 89104. Local, 702-486-5230. TTY, 702-486-1018. General contact, detradmn@nvdetr.org. detar.state.nv.us/rehab%20 pages/voc%20 rehab.htm. Products. Nevada VRS Self-Employment Guidelines. New Hampshire Vocational Rehabilitation. 21 South Fruit Street, Suite 20. Concord, New Hampshire 03301. Toll free, 800-299-1647. Local, 603-271-3471. TTY, 603-271-3471. education.nh.gov/career/vocational. New Jersey Division of Vocational Rehabilitation Services. 1 John Fitch Plaza. P.O. Box 110. Trenton, New Jersey 08625-0110. Toll free, 866-871-7867. Local, 609-292-5987. careerconnections.nj.gov/career-disable/vocational_rehabilitation_services.shtml. New Mexico Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. 435 St. Michael's Drive. Building D. Santa Fe, New Mexico 87505. Toll free, 800-224-7005. Local, 505-954-8500. Other, 505-954-8562. General contact, adrian.apodaca122@state.nm.us. dvrgetsjobs.com/pages/index.aspx. New York ACHES VR. 89 Washington Avenue, Albany, New York 12234. Toll free, 800-222-5627. aches.nice.gov/VR. Products. New York ACHES VR 1301.00 Self-Employment Policy. New York ACHES VR Self-Employment Policy. North Carolina Vocational Rehabilitation Services. 2801 Mail Service Center. Raleigh, North Carolina 27699-2801. Toll free, 800-689-9090. Local, 919-855-3500. TTY, 919-855-3579. Video, 919, 324-1500. ncdhhs.gov/divisions/dvrs. Products. North Carolina VRS Policy Directives. North Dakota Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. 1237 West Divide Avenue, Suite No. 1B. Bismarck, North Dakota 58501-1208. Toll free, 800-755-2745. Local, 701-328-8950. Fax, 701-328-8969. General contact, dhsvr@nd.gov. nd.gov/dhs/dvr. Ohio Bureau of Vocational Rehabilitation. 150 East Campus View Boulevard, Columbus, Ohio 43235. Toll free, 800-282-4536. Local, 614-438-1200. ood.ohio.gov/core-services/bvr. Oklahoma Department of Rehabilitation Services. 3535 Northwest 58th Street, Suite 500. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma 73112-4815. Toll free, 800-845-8476. Local, 405-951-3400. General contact, info@okdrs.gov. okrehab.org. Oregon Vocational Rehabilitation. 500 Summer Street Northeast, Salem, Oregon 97301. Toll free, 877-277-0513. Local, 503-945-5880. Oregon.gov/DHS/employment/VR/pages/index.aspx. Pennsylvania Vocational Rehabilitation Services. 1521 North 6th Street, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania 17102. Toll free, 800-442-6351. Local, 717-787-5244. TTY, 866-830-7327. dli.pa.gov/individuals/disability-services/ovr/pages/default.aspx. Puerto Rico Vocational Rehabilitation. PO Box 191118, San Juan, 00919-1118. Video, 787-729-0160. TTY, 787-268-3735. Fax, 787-728-8070. General contact, comunicaciones@vr.gobierno.pr. pr.gov/agencies/arv/pages/default.aspx. Rhode Island Vocational Rehabilitation. 40 Fountain Street, Providence, Rhode Island 02903. Local 401-421-7005. TTY 401-421-7016. Spanish 401-462-7791. ors.state.ri.us/vr.html. South Carolina Vocational Rehabilitation. 1410 Boston Avenue, West Columbia, South Carolina 29171. Toll free 800-832-7526. Local 803-896-6500. scvrd.net. South Dakota Vocational Rehabilitation Services. 1707 4th Avenue Southeast. STEA. Aberdeen, South Dakota 57401. Toll free 800-439-3417. Local 605-626-2398. TTY 605-626-2398. dhs.sd.gov/drs/vocrehab/vr.aspx. Tennessee Vocational Rehabilitation. Citizens Plaza State Office Building, 12th floor. 400 Dederick Street. Nashville, Tennessee 37243-1403. Local 615-313-4891. TTY 800-270-1349. Fax 615-741-6508. Tennessee.gov/humanservices/topic/vocational-rehabilitation. Products. Tennessee State Plan for the Vocational Rehabilitation Services Program. Tennessee Vocational Rehabilitation Brochure. Texas Workforce Commission Vocational Rehabilitation. 2416 South Lamar Boulevard STE. A. Austin, Texas 78704. Toll free 800-628-5115. General contact, customers at twc.state.tx.us. twc.state.tx.us/jobseekers/vocational-rehabilitation-services. Products. Texas State Plans for Vocational Rehabilitation Services 2015. Utah Vocational Rehabilitation. 1595 W500S. Salt Lake City, Utah 84104. Toll free 800-473-7530. Local 801-538-7530. User.utah.gov. Vermont Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. HC2 South 280 State Drive, Waterbury, Vermont 05671-2040. Toll free 866-879-6757. General contact, ahs.dalevr@vermont.gov. vocrehab.vermont.gov. Products. Vermont Self-Employment Policy. Virgin Islands Division of Disabilities and Vocational Rehabilitation Services. 1303 Hospital Ground. Knud Hansen Complex Building A. St. Thomas, 00802. Local, 340-774-0930. dhs.gov.vi/disabilities/index.html. Virginia Department for Aging and Rehabilitation Services. Toll free, 800-552-5019. TTY, 800-464-9950. General contact, dars@dars.virginia.gov. vadrs.org. Products. Virginia Consumer's Guide to Self-Employment. Washington Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. 4565 7th Avenue Southeast. Lacey, Washington 98503-1044. P.O. Box 45340. Olympia, Washington 98504. Toll free, 800-637-5627. Local, 360-725-3636. TTY, 800-637-5627. Fax, 360-438-8007. dshs.wa.gov/ra/division-vocational-rehabilitation. West Virginia Division of Rehabilitation Services. 107 Capitol Street, Charleston, West Virginia 25301-2609. Toll free, 800-642-8207. Local, 304-356-2060. wvdrs.org. Wisconsin Vocational Rehabilitation. 201 East Washington Avenue. P.O. Box 7852, Madison, Wisconsin 53707-7852. Toll free, 800-442-3477. Local, 608-261-0050. TTY, 888-877-5939. Fax, 608-266-1133. General contact, dvr@dwd.wisconsin.gov. dwd.wisconsin.gov/dvr. Products. Wisconsin Customized Self-Employment Toolkit. Wisconsin, Self-Employment Toolkit v2.0, assisting DVR consumers to pursue their goal of starting a business. Wyoming Vocational Rehabilitation. 1510 East Pershing Boulevard, Cheyenne, Wyoming 82002. Toll free, 866-804-3678. Fax, 307-777-3759. WyomingWorkforce.org/workers/VR. State Vocational Rehabilitation Agencies 3. Alabama State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Alabama Department of Rehabilitation Services. POB 4280. 602 South Lawrence Street, Montgomery, Alabama 36103-4280. 334-293-7500. 800-441-7607. Fax, 334-293-7383. TTY, 800-499-1816. Rehab.alabama.gov. Rehab.state.al.us. Alaska State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, Alaska. State Department of Labor and Workforce Development. Number A. 801 West 10th Street, Juneau, Alaska 99801-1894. 907-465-2814. 800-478-2815. Fax, 907-465-2856. TTY, 907-465-2814. Alaska.gov. labor.state.ak.us/dvr/home.htm. Arizona State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Rehabilitation Services Administration, Arizona. State Department of Economic Security. Second floor, Site Code 930A. 1789 West Jefferson, 2NW. Phoenix, Arizona 85007-3202. 602-542-3332. 800-563-1221. Fax, 602-542-3778. TTY, 602-542-6049. azrsa@azday.gov. azrsa.org. Arkansas State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Division of Services for the Blind, Arkansas. State Department of Human Services. POB 3237. Little Rock, Arkansas 72203-3237. 800-682-5463. 800-960-9270. Fax, 501-682-0366. TTY, 501-682-0093. arkansas.gov/dhs/dsb. state.ar.us/ars. Rehabilitation Services, Arkansas. State Department of Workforce Education. 1616 Brookwood Drive. POB 3781. Little Rock, Arkansas 72203-3781. 501-296-1600. 800-330-0632. Fax, 501-296-1655. TTY, 501-296-1669. arkansas.gov. arsinfo.org. California State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. California Department of Rehabilitation. 721 Capitol Mall, Sacramento, California 95814. 916-558-5874. Fax, 916-321-1313. TTY, 916-558-5872. Public Affairs at door.ca.gov. dor.ca.gov. Colorado State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, Colorado. State Department of Human Services. 4th floor. 1575 Sherman Street. Denver, Colorado 80203. 303-866-4150. Fax, 303-866-4905. TTY, 303-866-4150. voc.rehab@state.co.us. cdhs.state.co.us/dvr. Connecticut State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Bureau of Rehabilitation Services, Connecticut. State Department of Social Services. 11th floor. 25 Sigourney Street. Hartford, Connecticut 06106-2055. 860-424-4844. 800-537-2549. Fax, 860-424-4850. TTY, 860-424-4839. evelyn.knight@ct.gov. brs.state.ct.us. Vocational Rehabilitation Division, Connecticut. State Board of Education and Services for the Blind. 184 Windsor Avenue, Windsor, Connecticut 06095. 860-602-4008. 800-842-4510. Fax, 860-602-4030. TTY, 860-602-4221. ct.gov/besb/site/default.asp. Delaware State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, Delaware. State Department of Labor. 4425 North Market Street. POB 9969. Wilmington, Delaware 19809-0969. 302-761-8275. Fax, 302-761-6611. TTY, 302-761-8275. DelawareWorks.com/dvr/welcome.html. Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, Delaware. Division for the Visually Impaired. DHSS Campus, Biggs Building. 1901 North DuPont Highway. Newcastle, Delaware 19720-1199. 302-255-9800. Fax, 302-255-9964. State.de.us delawareworks.com/dvr/welcome.html District of Columbia State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency Rehabilitation Services Administration, District of Columbia Department on Disability Services 10th floor 810 1st Street NE Washington, D.C. 20002 202-442-8663 Fax 202-442-8742 dc.gov dds.dc.gov/dds/site/default.asp Florida State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, Florida Florida Department of Education Building A 2002 Old St. Augustine Road Tallahassee, Florida 32301-4862 850-245-3399 800-451-4327 Fax 850-245-3316 TTY 850-245-3399 vr.fldoe.org rehabworks.org Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, Florida Division of Blind Services Turlington Building Number 1114 325 West Gaines Street Tallahassee, Florida 32399-2050 850-245-0300 800-342-1828 Fax 850-245-0363 dbs.fldoe.org rehabworks.org Georgia State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency Rehabilitation Services, Georgia State Department of Labor Number 510 148 Andrew Young International Boulevard Northeast Atlanta, Georgia 30303-1751 404-232-3910 Fax 404-232-3912 TTY 404-232-3911 rehab@dole.state.ga.us vocreabga.org Hawaii State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency Vocational and Rehabilitation Agency, Hawaii Vocational Rehabilitation and Services for the Blind Division Kapolei State Office Building 601 Kamokila Boulevard Room 515 Kapolei, Hawaii 96707 808-692-7719 Fax 808-692-7727 TTY 808-692-7715 dhs.hawaii.gov hawaiivr.org Idaho State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, Idaho Len B. Jordan Building Room 150 650 West State Street Boise, Idaho 83720-0096 208-334-3390 Fax 208-334-5305 vr.idaho.gov Vocational Rehabilitation Agency, Idaho State Commission for the Blind and Visually Impaired 341 West Washington Street Boise, Idaho 83702 208-334-3220 800-542-8688 Fax 208-334-2963 icb6.state.id.us Illinois State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency Division of Rehabilitation Services, Illinois State Department of Human Services First floor 100 South Grand Avenue Springfield, Illinois 62762 217-782-2094 800-843-6154. Fax, 217-558-4270. TTY, 888-440-8990. dhs.ors@illinois.gov. dhs.state.il.us. Indiana State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Commission on Rehabilitation Services, Indiana. State Family and Social Services Administration. Division of Vocational Rehabilitation Services. 402 West Washington Street, Pub 7083. Indianapolis, Indiana 46207-7083. 317-234-4475. 800-545-7763. Fax, 317-232-6478. TTY, 317-232-1427. VR Commission at fssa.in.gov. in.gov/fss/disability/services/vr/index.html. Iowa State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Vocational Rehabilitation Agency, Iowa. State Department for the Blind. 524 4th Street. Des Moines, Iowa 50309-2364. 515-281-1334. 800-362-2587. Fax, 515-281-1263. TTY, 515-281-1355. blind.state.ia.us. Vocational Rehabilitation Services, Iowa. State Department of Education. 510 East 12th Street. Des Moines, Iowa 50319-0240. 515-281-4211. 800-532-1486. Fax, 515-281-4703. TTY, 515-281-4211. ivrs.iowa.gov. dvrs.state.ia.us. Kansas State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Rehabilitation Services, Kansas. State Department of Social and Rehabilitation Services. Docking State Office Building. 915 Southwest Harrison Street 9N. Topeka, Kansas 66612-1505. 785-368-7112. 800-432-0698. Fax, 785-368-7467. TTY, 785-368-8046. srs.ks.gov. srskansas.org/rehab. Kentucky State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Kentucky Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. 209 St. Clair Street. Frankfort, Kentucky 40601. 502-564-4440. 800-372-7172. Fax, 502-564-6745. TTY, 888-420-9874. wfd.vocrehab@ky.gov. chfs.ky.gov/dfrcvs/kccvs/disabilities.htm. Vocational and Rehabilitation Agency, Kentucky. State Office for the Blind. Mail Stop E2J. 275 East Main Street. Frankfort, Kentucky 40621. 502-564-4754. 800-321-6668. Fax, 502-564-2951. TTY, 502-564-2929. blind.ky.gov. Louisiana State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Rehabilitation Services, Louisiana. State Department of Social Services. 627 North 4th Street. Baton Rouge, Louisiana 70802. 225-219-2225. 800-737-2958. Fax, 225-219-2942. TTY, 225-219-2391. dss.state.la.us. Maine State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, Maine. State Department of Labor. Bureau of Rehabilitation Services. 150 State House Station 45, Commerce Drive. Augusta, Maine 04333-0150. 800-698-4440. Fax, 207-287-5292. TTY, 888-755-0023. MDOL@maine.gov. maine.gov/rehab/dvr/index.html. Vocational and Rehabilitation Agency, Maine. Division for the Blind and Visually Impaired. State Department of Labor. 150 State House Station. Augusta, Maine 04333-0150. 207-623-7956. 800-698-4440. Fax, 207-624-5980. TTY, 888-755-0023. Maine.gov. State.me.us/rehab. Maryland State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Division of Rehabilitation Services, Maryland. State Department of Education. 2301 Argonne Drive. Baltimore, Maryland 21218-1696. 410-554-9442. 888-554-0334. Fax, 410-554-9412. TTY, 410-554-9411. doors.state.md.us. Massachusetts State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Massachusetts Rehabilitation Commission. Fort Point Place. 27 Wormwood Street. Boston, Massachusetts 02210-1606. 617-204-3600. 800-245-6543. Fax, 617-727-1354. TTY, 800-245-6543. commissioner@mrc.state.ma.us or state.ma.us/mrc. Vocational Rehabilitation Agency, Massachusetts. State Commission for the Blind. 48 Boylston Street. Boston, Massachusetts 02116-4718. 617-727-5550, extension 7503. 800-392-6450. Fax, 617-626-7685. TTY, 800-392-6556. state.ma.us/mcb. Michigan State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Disability Determination Service, Michigan. State Department of Human Services. POB 30011. Lansing, Michigan 48909. 517-241-8450. 800-366-3404. Fax, 517-373-3773. Michigan.gov/DHS. Michigan Commission for the Blind. Second floor. 201 North Washington Square. POB 30652. Lansing, Michigan 48909-2062. 517-373-2062. 800-292-4200. Fax, 517-335-5140. TTY 888-864-1212. Michigan.gov/MCB. Rehabilitation Services, Michigan. State Department of Energy, Labor, and Economic Growth. 201 North Washington Square. POB 30010. Lansing, Michigan 48909. 517-335-0399. 800-605-6722. Fax 517-335-7277. TTY 888-605-6722. Michigan.gov/MRS. Minnesota State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Department of Employment and Economic Development, Minnesota. State Services for the Blind. Number 240. 2200 University Avenue West. St. Paul, Minnesota 55114-1840. 651-642-0500. 800-652-9000. Fax 651-649-5927. TTY 651-642-0506. State.mn.us. mnssb.org. Rehabilitation Services, Minnesota. State Department of Employment and Economic Development. First National Bank Building. 332 Minnesota Street. Number E200. St. Paul, Minnesota 55101-1351. 651-259-7345. 800-328-9095. Fax 651-297-5159. TTY 651-296-3900. deed.state.mn.us/rehab/rehab.htm. Mississippi State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Office of Vocational Rehabilitation, Mississippi. State Department of Rehabilitation Services. POB 1698. Jackson, Mississippi 39215-1698. 601-853-5100. 800-443-1000. Fax 601-853-5158. TTY 601-853-5310. mdrs.state.ms.us. mdrs.state.ms.us/client/ovr.asp. Missouri State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, Missouri. State Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. 3024 DuPont Circle. Jefferson City, Missouri 65109-0525. 573-751-3251. 877-222-8963. Fax 573-751-1441. TTY 573-751-0881. vr.dis.mo.gov. dis.mo.gov/vr. Rehabilitation Services for the Blind, Missouri. State Department of Social Services, Family Support Division. 615 Howard Court. POB 2320. Jefferson City, Missouri 65102-2320. 573-751-4249. Fax 573-751-4984. TTY 800-592-6004. Ask RSB at dss.mo.gov. dss.mo.gov/fsd/rsb. Montana State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Disability Services Division, Montana. State Department of Public Health and Human Services. 111 North Sanders, Room 307. POB 4210. Helena, Montana 59604-4210. 406-444-2590. 877-296-1197. Fax, 406-444-3632. TTY, 406-444-2590. dphhs.mt.gov/dsd. Nebraska State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Nebraska Commission for the Blind and Visually Impaired. Number 100. 4600 Valley Road. Lincoln, Nebraska 68510-4844. 402-471-2891. 877-809-2419. Fax, 402-471-3009. ncb6.ne.gov. Vocational Rehabilitation, Nebraska. State Department of Education. 301 Centennial Mall South 6th floor. POB 94987. Lincoln, Nebraska 68509-4987. 402-471-3644. 877-637-3422. Fax, 402-471-0788. TTY, 402-471-3644. vr.ne.gov. vocrehab.state.ne.us. nde.state.ne.us/vr. Nevada State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Rehabilitation Division, Nevada. State Department of Employment, Training, and Rehabilitation. 1370 South Curry Street. Carson City, Nevada 89703-5146. 775-684-4040. Fax, 775-684-4184. TTY, 775-684-8400. detarvr@nvdetr.org. nvdetr.org. detar.state.nv.us/rehab/re_index.htm. New Hampshire State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Vocational Rehabilitation, New Hampshire. State Department of Education. Number 20. 21 South Fruit Street. Concord, New Hampshire 03301-2428. 603-271-3471. 800-299-1647. Fax, 603-271-7095. TTY, 603-271-3471. ed.state.nh.us/education/doe/organization/adult learning/VR. New Jersey State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Commission for the Blind and the Visually Impaired, New Jersey. State Department of Human Services. 153 Halsey Street 6th floor. POB 47017. Newark, New Jersey 07101. 973-648-3333. Fax, 973-648-7364. TTY, 973-648-4559. dhs.state.nj.us. state.nj.us/humanservices/cb6/dhsvoc.html. Division of Vocational Rehabilitation Services, New Jersey. State Department of Labor and Workforce Development. POB 398. Trenton, New Jersey 08625-0398. 609-292-5987. 866-871-7867. Fax, 609-292-4033. TTY, 609-292-2919. dol.state.nj.us. lwd.dol.state.nj.us/labor/dvrs/dvrindex.html. New Mexico State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, New Mexico. State Department of Education. Building D. 435, St. Michael's Drive. Santa Fe, New Mexico 87505. 505-954-8500. 800-224-7005. Fax, 505-954-8562. TTY, 505-292-0454, Relay, New Mexico. State.nm.us. dvrgetsjobs.com. New Mexico Commission for the Blind. 2200 Yale Boulevard Southeast. Albuquerque, New Mexico 87106. 505-841-8844. 888-513-7958. Fax, 505-841-8850. State.nm.us. cfb.state.nm.us. New York State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. State Commission for the Blind and Visually Handicapped, New York. Office of Children and Family Services. South Building, Room 201. 52 Washington Street. Rensselaer, New York 12144-2796. 518-474-7299. Fax, 518-486-5819. TTY, 518-474-7501. dfa.state.ny.us. ocfs.state.ny.us/main/cbvh. Vocational and Educational Services for Individuals with Disabilities, New York. State Education Department, Vocational Rehabilitation Services. 1 Commerce Plaza, Room 1609. 99 Washington Avenue. Albany, New York 12234-2822. 518-474-1711. 800-222-5627. Fax, 518-474-8802. TTY, 518-474-5652. VESIDADM@mail.nicd.gov. VESID.nicd.gov. North Carolina State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Division of Services for the Blind, North Carolina. State Department of Health and Human Services. 2601 Mail Service Center. Raleigh, North Carolina 27699-2601. 919-733-9822. 866-222-1546. Fax, 919-733-9769. TTY, 919-733-9700. ncdhhs.gov/dsb. Division of Vocational and Rehabilitation Services, North Carolina. State Department of Health and Human Services. 2801 Mail Service Center. Raleigh, North Carolina 27699-2801. 919-855-3500. Fax, 919-733-7968. TTY, 919-855-3579. dvr.info@ncmail.net. dvr.dhhs.state.nc.us. North Dakota State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, North Dakota. State Department of Human Services. Prairie Hills Plaza. 1237 West Divide Avenue. Number 1B. Bismarck, North Dakota 58501-1208. 701-328-8950. 800-755-2745. Fax, 701-328-8969. TTY, 701-328-8968. wby@nd.gov. nd.gov/dhs/services/disabilities. Ohio State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Ohio Rehabilitation Services Commission. 400 East Campus View Boulevard, Columbus, Ohio 43235-4604. 614-438-1210. 800-282-4536, extension 1210. Fax, 614-785-5010. TTY, 614-785-5048. rsc.state.oh.us. Oklahoma State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Oklahoma Department of Rehabilitation Services. Number 500. 3535 Northwest 58th Street. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma 73112. 405-951-3400. 800-845-8476. Fax, 405-951-3529. TTY, 405-951-3400. okdrs.gov. Oregon State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Office of Vocational Rehabilitation Services, Oregon. State Department of Human Services. 500 Summer Street Northeast E87. Salem, Oregon 97301-1120. 503-945-5010. 877-277-0513. Fax, 503-947-5025. TTY, 866-801-0130. vr.info@state.or.us. egov.oregon.gov/dhs/vr/index.html. Oregon Commission for the Blind. 535 Southeast 12th Avenue. Portland, Oregon 97214. 971-673-1588. 888-202-5463. Fax, 971-673-1570. TTY, 971-673-1577. ocb.mail@state.or.us. cfb.state.or.us. Pennsylvania State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Office of Vocational Rehabilitation, Pennsylvania. State Department of Labor and Industry. 1521 North 6th Street. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania 17102. 717-787-5244. 800-442-6351. Fax, 717-783-5221. TTY, 717-787-4885. dli@state.pa.us. Office of Vocational Rehabilitation, Pennsylvania. Bureau of Blindness and Visual Services. State Department of Labor and Industry. 1521 North 6th Street. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania 17102. 717-787-6176. 800-622-2842. Fax, 717-772-1629. TTY, 717-787-4885. dli.state.pa.us. Rhode Island State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Vocational and Rehabilitation Agency, Rhode Island. State Office of Rehabilitation Services. 40 Fountain Street. Providence, Rhode Island 02903-1898. 401-421-7005, extension 354. Fax, 401-222-3574. TTY, 401-421-7016. ors.ri.gov. ors.state.ri.us. South Carolina State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. South Carolina Commission for the Blind. 1430 Confederate Avenue, POG 2467, Columbia, South Carolina 29202, 803-898-8700, 800-922-2222. Fax, 803-898-8852. Public info at sccb.sc.gov. sccb.state.sc.us. South Carolina Vocational Rehabilitation Department. 1410 Boston Avenue, POG 15. West Columbia, South Carolina 29171-0015. 803-896-6504. 800-832-7526. Fax, 803-896-6529. TTY, 803-896-6666. Info at scvrd.state.sc.us or scvrd.net. South Dakota State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Division of Rehabilitation Services, South Dakota. State Department of Human Services. 500 East Capitol. East Highway 34. Pierre, South Dakota 57501-5070. 605-773-3195. 800-265-9684. Fax, 605-773-5483. TTY, 605-773-5990. State.sd.us. dhs.sd.gov/drs. state.sd.us/state/executive/dhs/drs. Division of Service to the Blind and Visually Impaired, South Dakota. Hillsview Plaza. 3800 East Highway 34. C/0500 East Capitol. Pierre, South Dakota 57501-5070. 605-773-4644. 800-265-9684. Fax, 605-773-5483. TTY, 605-773-4644. State.sd.us. dhs.sd.gov/sb6. Tennessee State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Vocational Rehabilitation Services, Tennessee. State Department of Human Services. Citizens Plaza State Office Building, 15th floor. 400 Dederick Street. Nashville, Tennessee 37243. 615-313-4714. Fax, 615-741-4165. TTY, 615-313-5695. State.tn.us. Tennessee.gov/humanserv/rehab/vrs.html. Texas State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Department of Assistive and Rehabilitative Services, Texas. Number 5667. 4900 North Lamar Boulevard. Austin, Texas 78751-2399. 512-424-4220. 800-628-5115. Fax, 512-424-4277. TTY, 800-628-5115. dars.inquiries@dars.state.tx.us. dars.state.tx.us/drs/index.shtml. Utah State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Division of Services for the Blind and Visually Impaired, Utah. State Office of Rehabilitation. Number B. 250 North 1950 West. Salt Lake City, Utah 84116-7902. 801-323-4343. 800-284-1823. Fax, 801-323-5333. 4396. TTY 801-323-4395. user.utah.gov/division-of-for-the-blind-and-visually-impaired. Utah State Office of Rehabilitation. 250 East 500 South. epub 144,200. Salt Lake City, Utah 84114-4200. 801-538-7530. 800-473-7530. Fax 801-538-7522. TTY 801-538-7530. user.utah.gov. usoe.k12.ut.us/user. Vermont State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Division for the Blind and Visually Impaired, Vermont. State Agency of Human Services. Weeks IC, Room 109. 103 South Main Street. Waterbury, Vermont 05671-2304. 802-241-2210. 888-405-5005. Fax 802-241-2128. ahs.state.vt.us. dale.state.vt.us/db6. Voc Rehab, Vermont. Weeks Building, 1A. 103 South Main Street. Waterbury, Vermont 05671-2303. 802-241-2186. 866-879-6757. Fax 802-241-3359. TTY 802-241-1455. ahs.state.vt.us. vocrehab.vermont.gov. dad.state.vt.us. cit.state.vt.us/dad/db6. Virginia State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Virginia Department for the Blind and Vision Impaired. 397 Azalea Avenue. Richmond, Virginia 23227-3623. 804-371-3140. 800-622-2155. Fax 804-371-3351. TTY 804-371-3140. db6.virginia.gov. vdb6.org. Virginia Department of Rehabilitation Services. 8004 Franklin Farms Drive. Richmond, Virginia 23229. 804-662-7000. 800-552-5019. Fax 804-662-7644. TTY 804-662-9040. drs.virginia.gov. vadrs.org. state.va.us/hhr/drs. Washington State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, Washington. State Department of Social and Health Services. epub 45340. Olympia, Washington 98504-5340. 360-725-3610. 800-637-5627. Fax 360-438-8011. dshs.wa.gov/dvr. Washington Department of Services for the Blind. epub 40933. Olympia, Washington 98504-0933. 206-721-6400. 800-552-7103. Fax 206-721-4103. TTY 206-721-4056. Information at dsb.wa.gov. dsb.wa.gov. West Virginia State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. West Virginia Division of Rehabilitation Services. epub 50890. State Capital. Charleston, West Virginia 25305-0890. 304-766-4601. 800-642-8207. Fax 304-766-4905. TTY 304-766-4965. wvdrs.org. wvdrs.wvnet.edu. Wisconsin State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, Wisconsin. State Department of Workforce Development. 201 East Washington Avenue. Number A100. epub 7852. Madison, Wisconsin 53707-7852. 608-261-0050. 800-442-3477. Fax 608-260-3165. TTY 888-877-5939. dwd.wi.gov. dwd.state.wi.us. dwd.wisconsin.gov/dvr. Wyoming State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, Wyoming. State Department of Workforce Services. Hirschler Building, 2E. 122 West 25th Street. Cheyenne, Wyoming 82002. 307-777-7389. Fax 307-777-5939. TTY 307-777-7386. State.wy.us. wyomingworkforce.org/vr. wydoe.state.wy.us/vocrehab. American Samoa State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, American Samoa. Department of Human and Social Services. epub 4561. Pago Pago, American Samoa 96799-4561. 684-699-1371. Fax 684-699-1376. apsap26@yahoo.com. americansamoa.gov/departments/departments/hss.hdm. Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. CNMI Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. Office of the Governor. epub 501521. Navy Hill, Building Number N2. Saipan, MP, Northern Mariana Islands 96950. 670-322-6537. Fax 670-322-6536. TTY 670-322-6449. voc.rehab@saipan.com. ovr.gov.mp/default.asp. Guam State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, Guam. Department of Integrated Services for Individuals with Disabilities. 1313 Central Avenue. Tayan, Guam 96913. 671-475-4200. Fax 671-475-4661. TTY 671-477-8642. webteam@mail.gov.gu. bit.guam.gov/home/tabid/747/default.aspx. Puerto Rico State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Vocational Rehabilitation Administration, Puerto Rico. Department of Labor and Human Resources. POB 191118. San Juan, Puerto Rico 00919-1118. 787-729-0160. Fax 787-728-8070. TTY 787-268-3735. vra.gobierno.pr. arv.gobierno.pr. Virgin Islands State Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. Division of Disabilities and Rehabilitation Services, Virgin Islands. State Department of Human Services. Knud Hansen Complex, Building A. 1303 Hospital Ground. St. Thomas, Virgin Islands 00802. 340-774-0930, extension 4190. Fax 340-774-7773. TTY 340-776-2043.